Welcome back. We're here with episode 2 of our young season. Let's look back at the first week. Let's take a look at what happened. So the Ernies and the Lose, 42-34. The Ernies roll in this one. Can't say much good about the Lose in week 1. They fielded a team that was full of injury, missing players transferred to other leagues. So you really couldn't expect much more out of this one. Easy win. Semenyo was the leader of not only this game, but the entire week with 15. Johnson, the lone bright spot for the Lose. Moving on, the Bulls visiting the Tickas, and the Champs did what the Champs do, and they rolled by 12. Saliba led the way for the Bulls. The Tickas looked very good on the pitch. 43 points is a solid score. Iketike dropping 11 on his debut. Not much to complain about. A solid performance across the board. Kind of the surprise of the week was the Sharks. The Sharks dropped 54 on Andover. There hasn't been a lot of in Sharkland over the last few years, and 54 is a great way to start the year. Richarlison had 13. For Andover, the 32 points, not a lot to point at. Sanchez and Cucurella were kind of the only real bright spots with 8, and their forwards are looking thin and a little scary. But you got to hope that Sesko picks up and that Isak changes clubs or something happens there. And then it could be a very different outlook moving forward for Andover. Devilishly taking on Elgin and going into Elgin's house, an away day, and smashing them 52-29. This was kind of the shock of the week in terms of the result. Expected a more competitive match from Elgin, who was led with 8 points by, of all people, my Polish brother, Matty Cash. Salah did his thing with 8. Very balanced performance from the Seagulls, and they get off with the full 3 points. Next up, the high-scoring match of the week. Should have been the game of the week. Osborne traveling to Naila. Naila had to do everything they could to hold on and get the W here. They managed to squeak away with a 5-point win at home, taking all 3 points. Really behind Wood, who had a nice brace and a huge amount of defensive support. They had 3 at the back, and they got 20 points out of those 3. Osborne really has to feel hard done. Raya was their leader with 10. Gakpo with 7, and 6 points for 3 other players. So maybe a sign of things to come. Osborne could be rounding back into their top 4 form. We'll find out more this week. And finally, the game of the week, West Adams and Bramley. Bramley coming into West Adams' house, stealing all 3 points, leaving the players crying. Erling Haaland, 13 points. No big surprises here. The big surprise was that at the beginning of the first episode of this season, I said, wow, I have forwards. And then immediately, I don't have forwards. Havertz picks up an injury. Solanke doesn't start. He's recovering from an injury. And Fulkrug looks like he's about 95 years old. So that's kind of your week 1 in a nutshell. Congrats to those with 3 points. Naila at the top of the table. It's a tight table right now, but here's what's coming. Let's get into match week 2 and what we have ahead of us. So Naila comes in to visit Bramley. I think this is going to be a great game. Both teams with wins in week 1, and both teams, I think, look like they could be top 4 teams. So this could be a fantastic game. We'll see how that one goes. Elgin visiting Osborne. This would be a marquee matchup had it not been for the turd that was laid by Elgin's squad in week 1. You can bet the coach will be doing everything that he can to get his squad ready to take on an Osborne team that looks plucky. They look plucky, and they're coming home opener in front of the supporters. The Osborne boys are going to be ready. That should be a great game. Andover going to visit the Seagulls. If anything here, I feel like Andover is going to need to come with their A game here. I don't know that they have the striking power to get it done. It's going to be an uphill climb for them. Marcus and the Seagulls look strong, 50-plus points in week 1. They're going to have to play very, very well. And then what I think is going to be our game of the week this week is the Tickas traveling into Sharkland. The Sharks put up 54 in week 1 and now face the defending champs. We'll see if Ty's squad can continue to perform, or if what looks like to be a very balanced squad from the Tickas and a very promising player in Iketike continue to perform there. Should be a great game. The Lose, the much improved Lose, who worked on the waiver wire, made a couple waivers in, waivers out. They have an opponent this week in the Santa Monica Bulls who had just 31. That might be the ungame of the week. One doesn't have a keeper and the other one needed to make a lot of changes early on. And then finally, West Adams and the Ernies. The Ernies with the full 3 points to start the year. West Adams still looking to get on the front foot and make some noise in the league. And optimistic the boys are going to give everything. Best of luck to everyone out there in week 2. So good to be back. Talk to you guys soon. Good luck this weekend. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.